Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. So today's math topic is going to be understanding slope and linear graphs. So before we get into some practice problems that you can see here on the left, I'm just going to go over basically what slope is and kind of some things you should be recognizing on a graph. So slope is the change in y over the change in x. And let me just explain what that is. So let's say we have a graph, right? This is our x-axis and this is our y-axis. And we have a line that's going like that, okay? That's a linear line right there. So the change in x, I'll label that in blue, is going, let's say, from this point to this point. Change in x is going to be that distance right there, right? And now the change in y, which I'll label in red, is going to be from here to here, right? To this point right here. So how are we going to find that? Well, we're just going to do the y value of this minus the y value of this. And similarly, for x, we're going to do the x value of this minus the x value of this. And that's how we're going to find these two distances right here. That's how we're going to find them. And so basically what that gives us is it gives us what we call our slope, which is m in this equation. And what that means is for every little change in x, like for every, let's say this is one, like a step of one, we go up by a certain amount. And that will be true for every distance of one if it's a linear, if it's a straight line, right? It will always go up by the same amount. And so the way we calculate our slope is by doing y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2 when we get to coordinate points, basically. And I just showed that up here. So that will give us our slope. So my second thing is that the general form of a line is y equals mx plus b. Well, let me just break this down for you. So the m is going to be our slope, right? That's what we just calculated right there. And that, like I said, tells you how much you go up or down for each change in x. And this is very helpful for word problems, right? Which you did previously. It's just, this is now we're explaining what this means graphically. And so if you have a negative m, you're gonna have a graph that's going like that. That is a negative slope, right? If you have a positive slope, you're gonna have a graph that's going up, right? If you have a slope of 0, then you're gonna have a straight line. Like a horizontal line. But it's where it is, how high it is, that depends on other things, but you're just gonna have a straight line. Okay, and now we have the b value, and that's gonna be our y-intercept. And basically what this means is it tells us where this line intersects the y-axis. So if I have a graph and I have a line, right, then it'll intersect right here. And the way we find this is basically we plug in 0 for x. So then we get y equals b, right? That basically tells us when x is 0, because x is 0 on the y-axis, right? What is y? And that is our initial basically value for our equation. So this, you can think of this as the starting value, and this is the change every time, right? So these are the two parts of a linear equation, and you're probably gonna have to solve for them and stuff like that. But these are the two things that you're always gonna see in a linear equation. So let me just give you guys some examples. Here we have this line with 2 points, 0, 3, and 3, 12. And we're going to have to find the line that goes through it, the equation for it. So we know that our change in x, right, because we have a 3 here and here we have a 0. So we know that this part right here is going to be 3. And then here we know that our y here is 3, and then here it's 12. So we know that this is going to be 9, right? Because it's 12 minus 9. So I'll just do that, using the formula as well, where we do 12 minus 3 over 3 minus 0, right? So we get 9 over 3. So our slope is going to be 3. For every x, for every one x, we're going to go up 3, right? And if you have 3 x's, you're going to go up 9, right? So that's what that means. So now we know y equals 3x plus b, but we need to find the b value, like the starting value. Where does this line start? And if we look at this, we see that when x is 0, which is how we find the b value, y is 3. So that tells us that b is 3. Let me just show you. So y equals 3 times 0 plus b, when y is 3, right? So then we get 3 equals b. So y equals 3x plus 3 will be our line for this, will be the equation for this graph. Okay, so now we have this graph right here. Before even starting, I can tell you that the slope will be negative, right? Because it's going down as the x's change. So let's just calculate this. So again, if we start here and we go down, we start at 8 and we're going down to 2. So the difference there is going to be 6. Now, if we start at 0 and we go to 2, this is going to be 2. So we're going to have 6 over 2. Again, I'll just do that using m. So we have the top one, 2 minus 8 over 2 minus 0. So we get negative 6 over 2. So then m is going to be equal to negative 3, right? And that makes sense because we're going down, right? So you just have to be careful with your negatives here to make sure that you're not, because a negative m will tell you it's going down and a positive m will tell you that it's going up. So you just need to be careful about that. So now we know y equals negative 3x plus b. And you just need to find the b, like the intercept. So again, here it's given to us that when x is 0, y is 8. So if we plug this in, 8 for y and 0 for x, we get that. And then we get b is 8. So we get y equals negative 3x plus 8 as our final answer for this equation. And now we have our final equation, graph right here. 1, negative 1, and 6, negative 18. And again, this one is going to be negative. We can see that because it's going down. And again, we also have some negative values here. This works for negative and positive values. It has nothing to do with any of that. A line is a line regardless of where it is. So let's, like the other two we've already done, let's just calculate the slope for this. So we're going to take our first y, negative 18, minus our second y. Here, I'll put these in parentheses. Negative 1 over our first x, 6, minus our second x, 1. And that is our m. And see, here you could be tripped up because there is a double negative here, right? So this is negative 18 minus 1, which is plus 1. So it's going to be negative 18 plus 1 over 6 minus 1, which is 5. So you're going to get 17 over 5 as your m value, right? And now we can plug that into our equation. Y equals negative 17 fifths x plus b. And now we're just going to have to find the y-intercept. Here it's not given to us. So what can we do? We can plug in one of these points. So let's use 1, negative 1, because it's easier than 6, negative 18. Let's plug in 1 for x and negative 1 for y. So if we say negative 1 equals negative 17 fifths times 1, right? I'll put these in parentheses, plus b, then now we have one variable equation with b. So negative 1 equals negative 17 fifths plus b. b equals negative 5 fifths, right? I'm just converting that negative 1 into fifths, plus 17 fifths, right? Just move that over to the other side. So we get b equals 12/5. So putting that back into our equation, our final answer is going to be y equals negative 17/5 x plus 12/5. And that makes sense, right? If we look, it looks like it's approaching a value that will be positive, that will be greater than the x-axis. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope this was helpful. So yeah, there's just, a few little things you got to keep look out for. Look out for positive or negative slope, and just remember change in y over change in x. And this will help you out in word problems, but it'll also help you out for graphic problems. This is a big thing that they test on the test. So just make sure to really understand what, this video is about. So thanks for watching, guys, and we hope you join back next week.